Chinese vessels have withdrawn from a Philippine-occupied atoll in the South China Sea after forcing a quasi-blockade that provoked strong responses from Manila and Washington. A formal diplomatic protest from the Philippine government was sent to the Chinese side. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana said he and Beijing's envoy in Manila, Wang Jialin, had been in contact since November 16th when 3 white-hull China Coast Guard ships stopped 2 wooden supply boats from delivering food and other provisions to Philippine troops stationed on 2nd Thomas Shoal, part of the disputed Spratly Islands archipelago. Philippine leaders said China's ships used water cannons in the clash. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how U.S. and Philippines' warnings made China back down in the South China Sea. This video is sponsored by War Thunder. If you are, like us, fascinated by military vehicles and technology, I recommend you give War Thunder a try. It's a military vehicle combat game which you can download and play for free on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. It has a huge variety of more than 1,200 playable aircraft, tanks, helicopters, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s, which you can take to battle on land, in the air, and at sea on more than 80 theaters of war. War Thunder's been kind enough to offer all Defense Updates viewers a special bonus, which will grant you a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship, and 3 days of premium account time for registering using our link in the description below. So take the plunge and join more than 20 million players from around the world. A small contingent of the Philippine Marine Corps has occupied the atoll, known in the Philippines as Ayungin Shoal, since its Navy deliberately grounded World War II landing vessel BRP Sierra Madre to serve as an outpost in 1999. As per the Philippines, the shoal falls within its Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ. 8 Philippine Marines are stationed at the BRP Sierra Madre. The shoal is 40 kilometers or 25 miles from Mischief Reef, which the Chinese occupied in 1994 and where it built huge facilities in 2013 and 2014. Last Thursday, 2 days after the water cannon incident, Philippine Foreign Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. released a statement accusing one of the Chinese government vessels of firing a water cannon at the Philippine boats, forcing them to cancel their resupply mission. The defense chief had said at that time that the boats would return at an unspecified time this week without additional naval or Coast Guard escorts. The official warned Beijing by invoking the Philippines-United States Mutual Defense Treaty, which, under Washington, has pledged to defend Philippine vessels from attacks in the contested South China Sea. Philippines was supported on Friday by the U.S. State Department, which released a statement calling the Chinese actions an escalation that directly threatens regional peace and stability, escalates regional tensions, infringes upon freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. The Biden administration also reaffirmed its defense treaty commitments with Manila. The Inquirer quoted Lorenzana as saying, "They have no right to impede, prevent, or harass our ships within our EEZ, whether we're fishing or bringing supplies to our detachment in the Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal." Lorenzana has stated that the Philippine boats harassed by China on their way to deliver supplies to Filipino troops had been harassed again, but were able to complete their mission, reaching Shoal on Tuesday. Lorenzana said there was a Chinese Coast Guard ship in the vicinity that sent a rubber boat with 3 persons near the Sierra Madre while Filipino boats were unloading and took photos and videos. This can be seen as a face-saver from the Chinese side. Viewers may note that China has often used the People's Armed Forces Maritime Militia to scare away fishing boats from other nations. The People's Armed Forces Maritime Militia is essentially an extension of the People's Liberation Army Navy. While created much earlier, China's 2013 Defense White Paper enhanced the maritime militia's role in asserting sovereignty and backing up military operations. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian has asked the Philippine side to honor its commitment and remove its grounded vessel. China claims almost 90% of the South China Sea through its so-called 9-dash line map. It says it has indisputable sovereignty over the sea. This is not the first time China is trying to encroach. After Chinese vessels blockaded Philippine boats and seized control of Scarborough Shoal in 2013, Manila took Beijing to the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague in the case known as the Philippines versus China. The 3-year legal proceedings resulted in a win for the Philippines, with arbitrators determining that China's claims had no legal basis under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. China rejected the ruling in full. It's to be noted here that during that time the U.S. chose not to intervene. A new Chinese law has come into effect recently, which allows the Chinese Coast Guard, or CCG, to use weapons against foreign ships that it sees as illegally entering its waters. With this law, China's Coast Guard could use water cannons, handcuffs, and tear gas, although the use of more lethal weapons is not explicitly ruled out. Notably, China has reorganized its Coast Guard in recent years, and it has been transformed into a military-like organization under the centralized command of the Chinese Communist Party Central Committee and the Central Military Commission. Also, the U.S. Department of Defense report of 2020 indicates that China has more than doubled the number of large Coast Guard ships over 1,000 tons from about 60 in 2010 to over 130. While Chinese intentions are clear, it remains to be seen how the Philippines holds its ground with American support.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.